Hi everyone, and welcome to our third and final webinar in the series Making the Most Out of Your Mediatoolkit account. My name is Martina and I'm Customer Success Manager at Mediatoolkit. In our two previous webinars, we covered setting up queries, metrics, and different filtering options in the feed, how to export mentions in different formats, and how to properly set up digests and alerts. Today we will go through reports. Learning how to create and use reports will help you understand your current online reputation. Plus, it will give you an insight into what you're doing right and what needs improvement. That way, you will be able to create and implement strategies that will benefit you in the long run. Feel free to send your questions through Q&A option as I show each part of reports, and I will answer them at the end of the webinar. That being said, let's start. We can find reports here on the top, and inside we will see three predefined dashboards: basic report, advanced report, and competitive analysis. We also have an option to create our own custom dashboard, but we will come to that part later. We will start by looking more closely at the basic report. Basic report is used when you want to get a general overview of the results with some basic charts. Let's open it. Here on the left side, we can choose a folder or a query that we want to analyze. Let's say that I want to see results for my company's brand, New Balance, and I want to see results for February. So I will choose my brand here, and I will remove this one. And here I will set time period from February 1st until February 29th, and click Apply. First thing that I will see will be the number of mentions that were selected in that period of time. And below we have a percentage that shows if this was an increase or decrease compared to the month before. I see here how many impressions those 383 mentions gained. Impressions mean accumulated reach. The third chart will show on which sources my mentions appeared. And if I hover over it, I can see the exact number and percentage. For example, there were 211 mentions on websites, which is 55%. If I click these three lines, I have an option to download this chart in different formats. Okay, mentions over time. This chart shows me the exact number of mentions selected each day. Here I can see that there was a peak on February 5th, and if I click on it, I will see more closely what happened that day. I also have an option here to export those mentions in different formats. This dotted line is showing the comparison with the previous period, which would be a month before. If I was looking at the results for 2 weeks here, this dotted line would show comparison with 2 weeks before that. If I go further, I can see the sentiment analysis pie chart for my mentions. If you change the sentiment manually in the feed for some of your mentions, it will be updated in the reports as well. On the right side, we can see sentiment by sources. If you monitor more countries, you can see from which countries your mentions came from. And finally, we have word cloud to see what were the most common words mentioned with the keywords that we monitor. Everything is clickable here, so if you click on a specific word, you will see the exact mentions. If we go to the top, we can export all these charts into a PDF report. I will click download. And I have my basic report. Okay, now let's go back and let's choose now the advanced report. With the advanced report, you get more detailed results since it includes more charts like list of influencers and different sentiment analysis, as you will see now. Okay, I will leave the same query and the same period of time. Here we have some charts that we already saw in the basic report, like mentions over time, number of mentions, mentions by source, and number of impressions. But also we have some new charts here. For example, we can see mentions over time by source. Moving on, we have here a sentiment ratio comparing only positive and negative sentiment. And one of the most insightful parts of the advanced report is closer look to top influencers for our brand. On the left side, I can see who mentioned the brand the most, but on the right side, I will see that in even more detail by each source. Below that, we have a list of influencers ranked by reach. Maybe someone wasn't even on the top 10 list by number of mentions here because they mentioned my brand only one time, but their audience is so big that that one mention gained higher reach than somebody else who mentioned the brand 5 or 10 times. That would be a great insight into websites and social media profiles that I can consider for future projects. Here we can see again the location of our mentions, and also we have a list of top locations here and languages. Below we can see the sentiment ratio with neutral sentiment included. And on the right we can see it in more detail by each channel. We can also see sentiment by each day. And finally, who were the sources that mentioned our brand with positive or negative sentiment? And again, at the end, we have a word cloud. Like in the basic report, we can download the advanced report into the PDF by clicking here. Let's move to the last dashboard that is offered in our Mediatoolkit account, and that is competitive analysis. Basic and advanced reports you can use to see results for one folder or query, but with the competitive analysis, you can compare 2 or more queries or folders. Okay, let's open it. Now, let's say that I want to compare results for my company's brand with 2 competitors. I will select them here. I will choose the time period of the last 30 days. Here you can change color for each query if you wish. And I will click apply. Okay. Now I can see results for each brand and know where I stand in comparison with my competitors. I can see who had the highest number of mentions. It would be the brand Reebok. I can see it also here as a pie chart. And on the right, I see results for each channel. For example, my brand had most mentions on websites, but competitors had more mentions on Instagram and Twitter. That can be very interesting information for me to investigate further. Okay, scrolling down, I can see the number of impressions for each brand. If I go back up, I can check if some brand had less mentions, but higher reach. That actually happened, as I can see, with Reebok. They had more mentions than our brand, but we had bigger impressions. This means that the sources that mentioned our brand had a bigger audience, and that is very useful for me to know, of course. Below, we can see the same information as a pie chart. And here on the right is shown in more detail for each source. Going further, we see number of mentions for each day. And finally, we can see top influencers by influence score. If you remember, influence score shows how influential each source is from 1 to 10 based on the number of audience. Here we can see which brand had more influential sources, and that would be our brand, which had more sources with influence score 10. At the end, we can compare sentiment for each brand and the number of mentions by channel. Once again, by clicking download, you can export this into PDF. Okay, with this, we have covered all three predefined dashboards that you have inside your reports. Let's say now that you like the majority of the charts that you have in your dashboard, but you would like to make some modifications by adding some additional charts or changing or even removing some of the existing ones. I will show you now how you can create your own custom dashboard with only the charts that you need. I will choose a competitive report that we just saw as an example for that. Okay, let's go back to reports and choose create a custom dashboard. First, we need to name our dashboard. I will name it benchmark analysis. Then we choose the dashboard that we want to modify. That would be competitive analysis. And here I will again choose 3 brands to compare. I click create. Okay, now I can play and change whatever I want. Let's say that I want to change this. Let's start with here, with this share of voice into different type of charts. I click here on the pencil and I can select a different type. For example, basic bar. I can see the change here on the top. And I click save and I have my charts like this. I can click here and change the chart's width. I will choose 2/3. And then I can drag and drop this chart and put it here. I will now just go back and show you all the options you have to make custom changes for each chart. So let's go back to the pencil. So for some specific chart, you can make custom changes. For example, select different queries, select a different chart type, even different period of time. You can choose a different main dimension. You can trim your results here. You can add sub-dimension. And also you can choose value type and merge operator. I will choose some of these options in my next examples. Okay, let's say that I don't need this chart in my report. So I can delete it by clicking here and it's gone. But there are some charts that I want to add here. For example, I want to have a more detailed list of influencers besides this one by influence score. So by clicking on this plus sign, I can choose a chart I want to add. I will choose here to add top influencers by number of mentions. Okay, I click save. I have my results, as I can see, but the total list of influencers for all brands is combined. I want to see them separately for each brand. So I will click on the pencil and make some changes. Okay, here we have influencer as the main dimension, but to see results for each query, I will need to add a sub-dimension here. So I will click it and I will add feed as it was suggested. I will scroll up and see what we have. Okay, this isn't right because this doesn't show results based on the brand. So I would need to switch main dimension and sub-dimension. I'll do that by clicking here. Okay, let's go back up. Yes, this is what I want. Great. I will click save and I will have my chart here, actually list. I already had some trim conditions here. So just to point out that, to show you that part. For example, this trim conditions is set to show only top 10 results. I can change that number if I want, or I can add more trim conditions here, just so you know. Okay. I want to add one more top influencers list, and it will be by reach. I can do that by going to plus sign and choosing a chart like we did with this previous one, or I can clone this one and make slight changes. Let me do that. Okay, we have it here. Okay, in this case, I just need to change the chart value. So we will scroll down at the bottom, and instead of the count option, I will choose reach, and operator I will leave to sum. Let's go up. Yes, this looks right. I will click save. I will need to change the title of the chart since we cloned it, and I will change it to Top Influencers by Reach. I will change this title as well to be more precise, and I will add Top Influencers by Influence Score. Okay, now I have a very detailed list of influencers here. Okay, this is it. I have my own dashboard. This here on the top, if you click on Customize Dashboard, you can change the time period or choose different queries. If we click it, the tool will inform you that by doing so, all charts will be affected in case you made some custom changes for a particular chart, like different queries or different period of time. I will click yes here. On the calendar, if you choose one of the already suggested options for time period, like last 30 days, you will automatically see results for that period of time whenever you go to your custom dashboard. Or if you do monthly reports, you can choose this last month option and always see results for the previous month. Okay. So you can add as many custom dashboards that you need. You have an option to add each chart individually to create your dashboard. To show you that example, we will create one more chart for tags. If I'm tagging my mentions in the feed, with this chart, I will see how my tags are performing. So I will choose again, create a custom dashboard. I will name it tags. I will choose custom dashboard and I will select my query and click create. I will go here to add new charts. So I don't have any charts in my dashboard. I can add one by one, and I will click add new chart. I will choose custom chart. I will click save at the bottom, and I can create it from the start. So here I can choose chart type. I will choose donut. As a main dimension, I will select feed. I will add subdimension, and I will choose tag. Okay, let's click save. And let's see our tag chart. Yes, great. With this last example, we have covered the reports, but feel free to play with them on your own, create your own custom dashboard, or simply use one of already offered dashboards to see your results. Thank you for taking the time and participating in today's webinar. The recording will be sent to your email in a few days. And now let's see if you have sent some questions. Again, thank you all for joining me. Wish you a great day and hope to see you soon in some new webinar. Bye-bye.